everyone, I'm Brittany McGregor, the producer of Daddy LongLegs. We hope you enjoyed this short behind the scenes featurette. Welcome to the crew of Daddy LongLegs.
The 90s for me in South Africa, it's such a critical point in our history that the story is reflective of a woman and her journey and a changing point in her life, and that is exactly what was happening in South Africa at that point. Izzy and Quinn kind of ride the wave of change in our country.
We had to watch a lot of the Antwoord to get the accent and listen to their music because they're very deaf, so we had to get deaf.
I think that a lot of women would be able to relate to the fact that it's kind of about not necessarily a guy that messes you around, but a kind of emotional abuse you go through that you don't talk about. People come across women who are strong and think that there's nothing that goes on, but this is exactly the story of what goes on behind the scenes and how eventually it gets to too much.
Because
some minutes.
Visually, it's super stimulating. I think the story is really strong. We've got excellent actors.
It has a lot of cultural relevance, which I think a lot of people, they say they do South African stories, but it's it's like a generic kind of story that could fit into anything. This is specifically South African with the Zef. People from South Africa are going to recognize that and they are going to enjoy that.
Since it's set in the 90s, you can really feel it. You're almost like it's nostalgic.
I went in a different direction that I actually originally planned, and it was because of Johnny Greenwood. Fairly recently found out that he also does like he scores for films and stuff, and I watched some of his stuff, so I really incorporated that into the film.
And even overseas now, it's like the Antwoord and Jack Tarrow, these like guys are huge, and so they're gonna see this and be like, okay, this is awesome.
We were going for a grunge rocket type of feel with these characters.
It's a very like dirty electronic kind of style, very influenced by the 90s.
The continuity for the teeth was the bane of my existence, doing the same thing to them every single day. The first time I read Quinn, first draft, I immediately thought of him, and it specifically said in the script he had a fire shirt. So whenever I read him, I immediately thought of like eroding, something that consumes, like a poison. These characters are very self-destructive in a way, and I tried to put that through with the patterns and the clothes.
Basically, we wanted the effects to show this action, self-destructive world that they live in. So we decided to use some VFX that jump out at you, broken glass, and smoke, and all these things that represent the destruction of their world and that they inflict on the world outside.
I always look back at the cine and wish I did something else, but I feel like a film's never finished. It just gets taken into different directions. So for me, the cine was, it's supposed to have you in the immediate environments of the characters. So you're there with them, you're experiencing it with them, you're running with them, jumping with them, shouting with them. We took a lot of close-up shots, there's a lot of movement, whether it be handheld or tracks or what have you.
And also stemming from a really long script where we kind of thought that the script was really descriptive and that it wouldn't account for the duration of the film. We were kind of like caught in that position where we had to cut out some scenes.
So we had to cut down on a lot of things and a lot of shots, and we had to basically improvise on some of the VFX shots on set, make sure that what could worked best when we got into post-production.
So that was also difficult to incorporate into the final edit and to decide what is necessary to the story, what can stay, and then also how we can change the narrative a little bit in order to focus on other aspects of the film.
And then in terms of locations, wow, they were a struggle from the start just because they were quite difficult to get a handle on in the script. And then on set, just always have a backup. I feel like that's the number one lesson that everyone should learn.
It was a rush and it happened so suddenly. The whole crew just pulled together to get the set dressing right.
Yeah, it pushed us like physically, but it also pushed us mentally, and it also prepares you for what can go wrong and how you think on your feet.
We scouted certain locations, so I mentally prepared myself for these locations, and then we got to set and they were different. There was very strange things, like one location had crickets in the day, and I was like, why are crickets alive in the day?
Oh my god.
So working with everyone was terrifying because obviously it's Grad and you don't know what to expect, and it's your final film and you want it to be like fun and stuff. But it's been great, like excellent.
This is our short story, this is what we have to say, this is our statement. We're here and we're ready and we want to be part of the South African film industry.
Okay, so we can watch the film at the Labia Theatre
on the 25th of November at 1:10. Come watch us.
Call me Daddy.